Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. So tonight I wanted to just jump on here. First of all, test out the live stream for this channel. This is the first one, so yay. I've been in the process of repainting all of my firstborn Black Templar Marines. All those Space Marines that I've collected over the years that have never been painted. They're just base coated black. I've started going through and repainting them. Well, I just did about a third of them recently, and I even painted the bases. I went through and I added some wash to them, and they've got a gloss varnish on them because I was going to maybe add some decals to some of them. I just wanted to protect them at that point. Well, I've since built my wargaming table, which you can see here on the channel, and I started building some of the terrain. And the color that I had originally painted the base, well, it's slightly off, right? So tonight I figured while I'm sitting here repainting the base, I'll jump on live and see how that works. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to be cleaning up the bases for all of my firstborn Black Templar. Get them to match the table a little bit better. So I'll go through and probably add the same as I did the rock arch. So the burnt sienna, yeah, or raw sienna, one of the two. It's the more reddish tinge one, and then the golden brown on top. If I need to add a wash, I will. If not, then I'll just go ahead and clean up the rim of each one of the bases with a chocolate brown, which kind of gives it a nice little contrast. And then they should be good. I might have to go through after that and then just touch up some of the visor, like eye slits, add some like red for the helmets there. Do that, and then just a couple little accent pieces here and there. Once I'm done, then I'll go through in the morning and I'll hit everything with a matte varnish just to bring down the shininess that's on the whole model. Even the fabric pieces are, you know, covered in a gloss varnish right now, so it looks a little bit much. But I'll go through and matte varnish it tomorrow, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll get some pictures and videos together so I can show you guys kind of what the finished product looks like. But since it's a work in progress, figure I'll jump over to my painting table, which is a couple feet away. So I'm going to swap over cameras real quick and get that mic turned on, and then we'll just go ahead and hang out and get things painted. So again, thanks for being here, and yeah, hang out and stay tuned. All right, looks like everything's working all right, so thumbs up to that. I've got the Marines that I've painted so far. I've gone through and, you know, done a few, like here's Centurion, Devastator Centurion, right? So you can see I added originally I had done a like tan color, and I added a bit of like a gray because I was doing more of an ashy look to my game tables before. But now, since I'm doing more of you know, a desert and reddish color on the rocks, I want to add the more yeah, it's the burnt sienna. So burnt sienna, right? That's the color of the base of the rocks. So that'll go down first, and then I will go through and add the golden brown, and then once I'm done doing that, I'll go through and clean up all of the rims of the bases with dark chocolate. This one's almost out. I'm gonna have to grab the one from out in the garage, but I'll do that when that time comes. But I mean, really tonight it might be just fixing the rocks and then cleaning the borders of them up a little bit later. I'm gonna go ahead and get things set up. You know, I forgot to fill up my my water to rinse off my brushes, of course. Gotta love that. So trying to see if I can set up my iPad right here so I can see if there's any comments or anything. as I'm going live, just to keep an eye on it. And yes, I can see it, so that kind of works perfect. So like I said, I've got my little pot here. We'll go through. Like I said, I'm gonna add some burnt sienna to these. I'm using just the cheap paint on this because this is like the third time I've repainted this army. I had acquired my Templars over many years, so it's, you know, a lot of them had already been painted by the original owners. I've got some of them secondhand. Some I built myself, but some of them, like I said, they were painted quite horribly their first go around, and I didn't get them cleaned up all that well, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect, right? So like I said, I'm gonna try it on the Centurion because he's got a bigger base first, and just get a nice base coat of the burnt sienna and see how that works. So, and hopefully the music and everything sounds okay. What's my favorite Horus Heresy book? Oh, what is the name of it? It's... I have it on my bookshelf. Let me look. I forget the name of it. I'm horrible with names on stuff. Let me look. Hold on. One second. Yeah, it's the Horus Rising. Yeah, it's like the, what is it, the first one really, just kind of going through the actual Horus Heresy itself. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that one. I haven't read too many of the books, but that one's a good one. So yeah, and hopefully this live set, how's the music levels sound? Normally I have everything set up for Twitch, but I'm kind of a little bit done with Twitch for right now. So I kind of restarted this YouTube channel. I started it about 16 years ago, and I'm going through and restarting it now. And just I've been working on, you know, finally painting my Warhammer army. I figured I might as well document it. You can't go wrong with that, right? But hopefully I've got all the levels good and everything, because it's okay, cool. Yeah, this is the first time I've done a split setup. So I've, you know, my main setup is at my gaming desk, you know, with my gaming computer and everything. And that's the main setup for Twitch. And then here on my painting table, it's probably 5-8 feet away from my computer desk. And so I had, when I had first initially started streaming, I had got a HyperX, like USB mic. And then I had upgraded from there for my stream setup. So I was like, oh, perfect. I can use that as a secondary streaming mic. And of course, I've got tons of webcams because I had to buy a bunch of them when my kids were, you know, in school remote, you know, during the pandemic. So I was like, well, this is perfect. I can do a secondary setup, so I could swap between my main desk rig and then the painting table. So the hope is I can figure this out, get it dialed in, and you know, like I said, it's just I'm doing all this anyways. Might as well document it and, you know, show people how, you know, badly painted models look. You know, so that's fun stuff. So yeah, like I said, the terrain I started building, it's based in this the burnt sienna, so that's why I'm redoing the bases with the burnt sienna, just to get it to look like it matches the board, because I want to have everything match the table that I'm building. The most annoying build, you know what, it's quite honestly like the old metal ones. Like, I had never built my High Marshal, and I finally put them together. So this is my firstborn High Marshal, and these stupid metal parts. Like, I don't pin it. I really don't care. If it falls apart, I'll re-glue it. But I've got some good gap filling glue that works pretty well. But just getting these things initially to stick, I mean, that's a headache and a half. You know what I mean? So I've got this guy, you know, the Firstborn High Marshal, and then I've also got my original assassins that I've never painted up. They've always just been sitting there like this. So those will be part of all the repainting I do. So that's the fun stuff. Yeah, all of my, it's funny because like all of my new paint jobs, you know, they're looking kind of like this. As I'm repainting them, you can see there's a big difference, you know. So yeah, so that'll let that dry. Oh, set that aside for right now. I really love these Centurions. I didn't think I would. I thought maybe they'd be a little bit gimmicky when they first came out, but quite honestly, they've done pretty well, especially with the new Codex supplement. Been pretty happy with it. I played a few games so far in 9th edition. Not as many as I'd like, but I also don't have my Primaris Marines built yet, so I'm using all Firstborn Marines when I play. So it's definitely been interesting. So I have the new box set of Templar Primaris, so I'm gonna be building those soon. Oh yeah, the metal dreadnoughts. Yeah, it's the metal's almost as bad as the old Finecast stuff, you know, where it's like you would get a box of Finecast models and every part would be tweaked and bent and misshapen, and you know, you got to sit there and heat it up and hot water just to straighten it out and all that garbage. And it's like, I just want cheap plastic models. I don't care if they've got ultra detail, as long as they look good from 3 to 5 feet away, which is what you know, you're not playing, you know, when people are standing around the table. Now I get Finecast and like all these really high resolution for display pieces, but when you're playing on a table, you're standing up, you know, 3 feet, 5 feet away, usually with the drink in your hand. You know, it's, you don't care about the ultra details, you know, at least for me. So the majority of my collection, so I went through and I bought, you know, like a whole set of the Army Painter paints. So I've got one of the like the big Army boxes of these. So most of my miniature stuff now, I've been doing this. I used to use Vallejo. I used to have a full set of that years ago, but it had been so long since in between when I played, all the Vallejo paint had dried out. For the bases and everything, I mean, I use just cheap, you know, crafting paint. So I've got the burnt sienna I'm using is just this stuff that you get at like Michael's or whatever, like, you know, your basic craft store. The second color I'll put on is even cheaper paint, because the bases I'm doing in bulk, so I really don't care. Yeah, the red. Oh man, I really want to try doing the resin printing. I'm really intrigued by that because I've been trying to scratch build Titans forever, and you know, nobody's got, you know, thousands of dollars to throw away on a Titan that really has no character. It's just, yeah, it looks cool, but you really want to make it your own, you know. And so I always thought it would be cool to get into like resin 3D printing and just use that to build Titans, or, you know, just like little custom pieces here and there. You know, I'd still support, you know, the GW brand and stuff. I mean, they put together good rules every once in a while, so I ain't gonna totally crap on them. But you know, it'd be cool to be able to make some accent pieces and not have to scratch build everything, you know. Yeah, exactly. Like I've been saving up a bunch of model kits, and I'm gonna be I'm saving up to buy some more Primaris Marines, because I've been wanting to build a Sons of Medusa army. You know, it's Iron Hand's, you know, successor chapter that they got, and you know, I'm looking at either like, okay, do I make custom transfers for the shoulders, or do I just, have one of my buddies who does the printing print out shoulders for me, so it's because that's where it really comes in handy when they're not selling it and you're making a successor chapter. That's where it comes in handy. Right? Yeah, I don't know. I almost see like GW one day going to like a subscription model, and just like releasing all of their models in like STL files, and you just pay. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, where you pay like $15 a month and you got access to all your stuff. I would see them cracking deals with 3D printer companies and like, all right, we'll have a subscription, and then you can print as much as you want as long as you're not reselling, because that would be a way for them to still thrive. Like they could just spend all their time writing really cool stories and really, really good rules that are very well fleshed out and play tested. So that way when you buy an edition, right, whatever edition you're on, you don't have to constantly be FAQing the thing. Like have really good fleshed out rules, and then go to a subscription service model where, yeah, you can buy pre-casted models from them, right? But if you want, you've got the printers, you can pay the subscription and have access to all the files, and you can print out your army. And most people will get the subscription and forget about it, so they're going to make money regardless. But if people don't want to invest in 3D printers and all of the stuff that goes with it, you can still buy the model kits, and then heck, even up your game. There's so many people out there that actually paint really well, have a service where, hey, we'll assemble it for you and we'll paint it for you. They just need to just accept that people are going to be printing their stuff, and they just need to capture revenue, because that's really what it's about for them, right? Is generating revenue. It's a business. So if they go to a subscription model and just give everybody the original files for everything, or recreate files for the old models and stuff and update them, that would be a cool way to keep people engaged. And there's still going to be theft and everything, but that would allow people to support the company still, so there's new rules and stuff. Be interesting to see. And that way you can bring back a lot more of the older games too. Like I'm seeing a lot of really cool stuff that like I want to get into. Oh man, I just hit the model. Some cool stuff I've seen is this pocket hammer stuff, where it's not the scale of Epic, but it's like 8mm to like 12mm. They're getting the 40K model STL files, and they're just scaling it down to like 8 to 12mm, and they're printing out full apocalypse armies, but they would fit on this cutting mat essentially. So you would have just these giant armies, and you can play on like a full apocalypse game on something smaller than like a 4x4 table. It's pretty intriguing. And so that would be cool. So if they did provide STL files for everybody and they controlled it, like you can change the scale of your armies and play just massive armies. Yeah, it's really, a lot of people are calling it like Pocket Hammer, and you'll see like Pocket Warcry, all different things like that, and they're just basically getting the STL files for the models, and they're just rescaling them, and it's really neat to see, because you can. And these guys are printing out, Titans, and they're even printing out terrain that's at scale as well. And it's like, this is really neat. Because Epic, I think, might have been too small a scale. I remember seeing it back in the day, back in like the 90s and stuff. And it was just so tiny. They didn't have much detail. I mean, the models really didn't have much detail, period, back then. I mean, if you remember, it's just, those are the old squat days. But, yeah, it just, the Epic's scale, it was a good idea, but the resolution just wasn't there on that size model back then. But now with these like high res, like resin printers, you get like a 4K or 8K resin printer. Man, those are amazing. I'm really intrigued by seeing what those guys are creating. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, this is gonna look good. Having, I mean, already it's kind of popping a little bit better. Before, when I did the tan and then a gray, and it was supposed to look like an ashy, like ash waste type look. And I think the red in this new color is much better. It's gonna look good. Yeah, and even like the original like tactical squads and stuff, I've got a couple like old school, casts and everything, and they're funny. They're really bad. I mean, I got like this guy. It's not too old, but I mean it's an older cast that I did, and like his hand I think is supposed to be a power fist, but I don't know it's like halfway between a power fist and halfway between just a chunky arm. I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest. So who knows? On the top right here, this guy? No, this is just my Terminator Chaplain. I'm gonna get Ferris though. I want to. So I'm thinking of doing for my Sons of Medusa, Iron Hands army. I'm thinking of doing. There's this Vanguard detachment that is. It's like a Vanguard spearhead, and it's all Phobos armored guys. So I did pick up getting the glare, the Phobos captain for that and everything. But I do want to expand it out. I've got some extra Primaris Marines, and I want to get Ferris. I've already based one of my firstborn Tech Marines, so that was one of my old school ones that I was working on. So he's already based in the green, getting ready. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I honestly, I tried using the so I did like with these models, I used just a dark tone wash, the one that comes in the Army Painter like little bottle here, and just to kind of, I did all like the base colors, and I did the wash, and then I'll go through and like do all the highlights and stuff. That's nice, but then I bought the quick dip thing, but I painted it on, and when you look at these guys, it's kind of hard to see, but they're super shiny. So it's a gloss varnish that's kind of built into it. So once I'm done painting all the bases and painting these guys, I got to hit everything with a matte varnish just to bring it down a bit. The Tech Marine, yeah, he's an old metal. He's a metal one. He's got some weight to him. Yeah, a lot of my old characters are all metal. Like half of the guys that I'm gonna be painting the bases on tonight, they're the old metal, metal characters and stuff. So, yeah, it's been pretty cool. Yeah, what I did is I started collecting my Templars back in the 3rd edition box, when it was Black Templars and Dark Eldar, right? And that was the cool little box set, and came with like the little land speeder and everything. That was my first real investment into Warhammer, and I bought that when I was in the army. And so I built them, I started painting them, and then they sat on a shelf for ages. And then when I got out of the military, it was in 2008, and that's when we had all the housing crisis and like the big, the Great Recession and everything. And I was hanging out at the gaming stores at the time because I really didn't have much going on, and people were putting up full, Templar armies on consignment. And so I was able to buy like hundreds of miniatures for dirt cheap. And I mean, I feel bad, because, people were just doing it just to make a buck, really. But I lucked out in that situation because I was, fresh out of the military. I had some extra cash. So I was able to pick up a lot of troops. And they just kind of sat base coated forever. So that's one reason why I'm going through and finally repainting. will you be adding the Forge Father? Yeah. So I want to buy the new. I think he's a Primaris, the new Ferris, right? So I want to buy him, and then I'm gonna probably buy a couple of Tech Marines, Primaris Tech Marines, and then kit bash them a little bit, because you can't just leave them stock if you're gonna be doing an Iron Hands based army. So that'll be once I get my Templar army finally painted and get the new Primaris guys built, then yeah, that's when I'm gonna buy the rest of the Phobos Marines that I need to buy, because they look kind of techy, and so I was like, you know what, they seem to play pretty well with Iron Hands. I know they're better with Raven Guard, but I think it's pretty cool, because especially Sons of Medusa, they're known for scavenging the battlefield and taking blown up armor and tanks and stuff like that. So it's kind of like they're already kind of scavengery for Space Marines. So I think it kind of fits the theme a little bit. But then I'll have the capability to expand out the army, and yeah, I want to have more models as well. Plus, I want to have the capability, if I do more strategic missions and I'm not doing like a Vanguard Spearhead, I want to run Devastator squads and drop pods, and do a proper, Iron Hands Alpha Strike. So, you know how that goes. So that'd be cool. Oh, really? So Cromlech? Is that how it's said? And then Spellcrow. Okay, yeah, I'll look at that. Yeah, I'm all about getting, especially supporting those little companies that make all the little stuff. I'm all about supporting them. Sometimes they think up better things than I ever could. And so I've started years ago. I started building Sons of Medusa, but I had to stop because I was like, I need to paint my Templars. And then it's the same old story for everybody who plays 40K. One day I'll paint them. One day I'll paint them. And luckily, lately, I'm just like, you know what? I'm getting back into playing again. The guy I'm playing against that's new to the hobby, he started painting his army, and I was like, I can't let this happen. I've been playing for so many years, and I still don't have a painted army. This guy's brand new, and he's got a painted army. I'm like, this can't be right. So, kind of tipped my hand to start painting. So, it's been good. Paint. It's gonna take forever. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've bought from GW. I just started doing it a little bit. I'm pretty, I'm friends with this guy who owns a GW shop near me. And so it's just him. He doesn't have any employees. He runs the shop by himself. And so I support him. And since, he's running the shop and that's his business, it's not his fault that, GW does their thing. So, I get it. I wouldn't necessarily want my money to go there, but I support him. So I started, buying my stuff there again, just supporting him. So it's not necessarily shopping small, but it kind of feels that way because the guy, And it's got to be tough through the pandemic, just being a, shop owner like that and having no employees, so you can't really, leave or whatnot, and you got to do everything on your own, and people don't have the disposable income as much, and so I get it. Plus, with their rates just going up, it's like I've really got to seriously budget for new models now. I can't just go and buy something now. I've got to really save up, and the price hike recently, just man, that hit hard. Yeah, it's it's like you don't want to support the big machine, but got to think of the people that get hurt either way. And so, yeah, it's not like GW does horrible things to the world. It's just, you know, they're just... Oh my goodness, did I just hit it? Oh well, it looked like they fell in the mud. Jeez. Yeah, when I first painted these guys, I didn't want to do like an actual army paint job, so I did like a custom Templar paint job, and it was like gray and silver and red and everything like that, and it was, you know, I didn't even do white on the arms. It was like, I think I did like a grayish color with the silver. It was just weird. So that was the first time I painted them. I didn't even do them like Black Templar. So I was like, this time I'm actually gonna paint them and do the actual chapter colors. So when I painted the Marines, I did black on them, and then I did a heavy like overbrushing on them with it's like the gray you would use for the Space Wolves, right? And it's just a heavy overbrushing. And then the good thing is when I go through and then I add the dark tone wash to it, it kind of just leaves the ridges and it pulls all the black on the plates, and it goes back to black armor. But then I don't need to go and edge highlight everything afterwards, because I can just do a really quick pass on it, and then all the black just settles on the flat parts, and it's like a really quick and easy way. Because I think I have built already, I've got 200, geez, big old loud motorcycle. I've got 200 Firstborn Marines that I have to paint, and then I've got to build a bunch of extra ones that I haven't built yet, and then build all my Primaris. So it's just, yeah, it's a lot. I used to play a lot of Apocalypse games, so yeah, I've got it's like a full crusade. Yeah, I've got, you know, a lot. I used to play against guys that had full orc armies with like two, you know, was it 150 or 200 man green tides, you know, with all the orcs and everything, and I would be able to counter them because I would have equal amounts of Marines fighting orcs. So it was pretty cool. You know, it was nice just facing down green tides and not being worried at all, because it was basically 1 for 1. And especially the old codex for Templar, you know, you would, if you lost a model, you moved towards the nearest enemy. So it was like constant just slogging across the field. I didn't need to put them in, you know, any vehicles, because they just moved faster if they lost people. So it was perfect. I love the old codex. That's why I'm glad the new supplement has brought back a lot of the old flair for the Templar in one shape or another, you know. I'm really happy with 9th edition. I know some people are not the biggest fans of it, but it's been a lot more. I stopped playing during 8th. 8th edition came out, I was just like, this is weird. I'm not having fun. So I didn't really play during 8th. 7th, I was starting to get kind of confused. I was like, these rules seem weird. So I didn't even play really much during 7th and 8th. And then when 9th came out, I was like, you know, I dig these rules. These are kind of cool. It seems like gameplay became fun again. I don't know how tournaments are. I don't do tournaments, but just casual play, it seems a lot more fun now. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you know what? Like, I don't play as often as I wanted to, and back in the day, I mean, it was hard to find people to play with, because I'm a casual player. So I'm probably closer to your boat than, you know, someone who plays more regularly. I like to just, you know, build stuff, kit bash, paint, you know, learn about the lore. I used to play the video games a lot, you know, things like that. But I need to play with casual players, because it's like, I don't know all the rules. I'm never going to remember all the rules. I forget half of them. I'm also all about house rules. Like, if you're like, that doesn't sound right, but hey, this sounds logical, let's go. We don't need to read through the book all night. You know, that's okay with me. And I don't care about winning or losing. heck, I lose most of the fights I'm in with my army because I go more thematic. You know, I run just Crusader squads and stuff like that. So I've had a few bad game experiences. You know, like I had one guy early on when I was learning how to play. He was trying to be nice, but he wasn't very patient with me. And man, he relished in the fact that he would just whoop my butt every game we played. And you know, the store owner at the time had like talked me into playing an escalation league. It was my first time really, and I jumped right in like a little, you know, house league, and it was an escalation thing where we started out with like, it's like 200 points or something, and worked our way up. And oh, you know what? My signal just got really bad, and I think I realized why. Uh-oh. Well, it seems better now. I forgot that on my streaming PC, there's whenever I update the software, I've got to reset the Ethernet port, and or else it gets super laggy. So I got to do that next time. So there might be some lag in the stream. But yeah, no, it was, you know, he was nice. He was trying to help me, you know, learn and play. But man, he was just being a total jerk about winning all the time. And if I forgot rules, he got, you know, he's clearly really annoyed. And it, you know, a lot of guys I was trying to play with at the store, because I was just trying to be nice and just like meet people and be like, hey, would you like to play? Like, I'm new. They're like, no, I don't have time for, you know, teaching someone the rules. And it's like, all right, whatever. People were just kind of being pompous about it. So I ended up getting a coworker into playing, and I was working at a hospital at the time, and you know, he got into it. He built the Space Wolves army, and that's where I built my first table, and I started building terrain. So we were playing in my backyard, you know, late into the evening, you know, drinking some drinks and barbecuing, and that was more my speed. So now when we play, I build my tables to where they can sit out on the picnic table in the backyard, and you know, when I have people over, we, you know, one person brings drinks. I get the barbecue going usually the night before. Last time we played, I did a brisket in the smoker all night. Like, I started in the evening the night before, and by the afternoon, when we were about halfway through playing, you know, we pulled out the brisket, took a break, had some brisket, and one of the guys brought homemade cookies, and like, that's the way to play. And it's not as like cold as it is, you know, playing in some stores where it's like, all right, I'm just going to meet someone for the first time, and then we're going to be very competitively played. It's still going to be cordial, but no, I'd rather just hang out with my buddies. And now one of the things that we're looking at doing is back in the day when me and a couple of my friends used to play, we used to do big campaigns that would last a long time, right? And so we're going to try out the Crusader rules that they have, to where you can, you know, level up characters over time and all that stuff like that, and just keep a more ongoing campaign and give more of like a narrative behind the play. Because like you know, you like all the stories and everything like that, and I think that's the part of it that some people miss. Like, you know, some people are playing just the war game part. Like, I like the storytelling behind it. I like that the fact that this game is thematic. You know, that makes it a little bit more fun. Yeah, military and government workers. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of downtime, you know. Me and a couple of guys, when I was deployed, we were making up our own little war games where we created this giant battle map, and it was like a star map, and we created like some rules with like spaceships, and we were stationed on different patrol bases. And so what we do is, late at night when most people were sleeping, and we would go in when it was just guys doing the radio watch, and we would go in and we would call up, you know, what our moves were over the radio. It probably sounded really weird to people listening in, but we'd call up like what moves we were making, and then if we were gonna battle our ships, like we had rules set to where like the person attacking would do all the dice rolls and everything like that, and so they would resolve the combat. And so the next day when we'd call back up and give status reports, we can let them know how that ship battle went, and then we would kind of be thematic about it, and it was really fun. So yeah, with all the downtime, yeah, you want to do that, but I think now it's a little bit easier because everybody's not deployed overseas all the time. So yeah, in the barracks you get guys playing a lot, at least back when I was in. So, and the game stores nearby are a good place to hang out that's not on base, so it's always helpful. So yeah, and that's the thing, is just creating stories around why you're doing the fights. This is an old brush. It's like curling up on me. Yeah, cut off some of these little strands. I've tried conditioning the bristles. It's a cheap brush, and I've had it for years. So I've just been cutting off the strands as they get too crazy. But yeah, just adding a little bit of story to it just makes it fun. Oh yeah, these bases are looking way better just with that little bit of a base coat down so far. That's exciting. So I'll set that aside. Get the next set in. Yeah, it's gonna be cool once I have the whole army painted. I've got the new board and it's all gonna match with all the terrain. So the bases will match the terrain and everything. It's gonna look good. I'm so excited. So that way I can also display the army and take some good pictures and everything. And something I was just working on yesterday is my wife bought me a Lazy Susan from the store that looks really cool. It's got like a metal banding around it with some rivets, and I textured it the same texturing as my tabletop, so I can set it on the tabletop. So then you've got it's kind of consistent. So you got the whole desert look, and then once I finish painting these guys, I put them on the middle and then use the Lazy Susan to turn it. You get a nice 360 view of the models, and I'll probably put them on shorts here, so that way it'll be like each model on a short, and you can just kind of see how they look. And because it's like you paint it and you might put it on a shelf, and then maybe one or two friends see it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna show it off to everybody. I'm doing this YouTube thing again, might as well put them on the shorts. So that'll be fun. And the cool thing is too, one of the things I'm planning on doing, so I've base coated all of my vehicles years ago. So I was getting ready to paint them all Templar and everything. But then I realized that with some of the paint schemes you see online for the Sons of Medusa, is the vehicles will be black and they'll have like the Mechanicus red with like the Mechanicus symbols on them and everything. So I was like, oh, you know what, I could really save on having to rebuy army stuff, and I'll just kind of keep the Templar symbols off of my tanks and keep the Sons of Medusa off of it, but I'll paint it just a Mechanicus like black, red, and white, and I can use it for either army with all of my vehicles. And that's kind of going to be what I'm going to do, so I can use them if I'm doing Sons of Medusa or if I'm doing Templar. I'm going to do it with all my vehicles, so that way I don't have to rebuy these expensive pieces to go with my army. So it'll be cool. So far, the centerpiece is a kit bashed Emperor's Champion I did. Let me see. It's kind of hard to see. So it's the old Emperor's Champion. So I've got them right around here. So this model, right? So that's the old Emperor's Champion model. So I kind of kit bashed them a little bit, and I took these are Blood Angel wings, right? A little jump pack with the wings. I don't know whose it is. I forget. I forgot whose wings these are, but I think it might be like Dante or something like that. But yeah, I got his jetpack with the wings, put the Emperor's Champion on it. That's my favorite. Like, I don't play with this guy, but he's like, when I display my army, he's at the center of it all. I do want to, like, I don't know if you've seen that new the GW Day pre-order with the Emperor's Champion slaying the Orc war boss. Sanguinary. Is it Sanguinary Guard? Yeah, it might actually be Sanguinar, to be honest. Like I don't remember. I think it was a character model. But yeah, it looks in person. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, once I get that Lazy Susan going, this will probably be the first one I take really good photos of, and then I do a quick short video of, so you can see the detail. It was a fun little kit bash I did. It wasn't much. It was just basically a new jetpack. But yeah, that's my centerpiece now. But I think it'll be my collection of Emperor's Champions, because if I get that pre-order one, I'll have 4 Emperor's Champions, because I've got the new Primaris one that I need to build still. I've got the one with the wings, and I've got the original. So I'll have 4 of those guys. So it'll probably be the new Primaris High Marshal, and then the 4 Emperor's Champions, flanking them. So that'll be pretty cool. I look forward to it. Yeah, so far that's the centerpiece, and then was it Ferrus Magnus? Is that what his name is, for the Iron Hands? I'll probably get that model and do him for my Sons of Medusa army. And the cool thing is I'm gonna keep true to kind of how the color scheme is supposed to be for Sons of Medusa. So when I do them, obviously all the troops are gonna be the green. All of my walkers and everything will be the black and the red. And then any heavy like Devastator units are going to be the desert support squad. What is it? It's is it yellow and brown? I think it is yellow, brown, and tan like color scheme. So all my new Devastator squads that I'll build for the Sons of Medusa, they're going to be the desert squad colors. So it'll be the brown, yellow, and tan. I think it is. And then all the rest will be the green. And then, like I said, all the vehicles that I need to share between armies will be the black, red, and white. It's going to look good, I hope. Got to be a little bit frugal with what, stuff I buy. Vehicles can be shared. Gorgon Terminators. Trying to think which ones those are. I might have seen them. I'm bad with names. Really bad with the names of stuff. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. God, some of these guys I'm gonna have to put more wash down. I kind of got a little sloppy by their feet. It's all good though, because a little extra wash on the bases should look pretty good. It's all about dirtying it up. I want it to be, kind of dirty mud, because even desert gets yucky. Okay, Forge World Iron Hand. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely look those up, because yeah, that'd be cool to have some Terminators as well for when I do the larger battles and stuff. Because like I said, the first priority is going to be building the Phobos Vanguard Strike Force, and that'll be like the real start of my Sons of Medusa army. But then yeah, I want to have it to where it can be a full army in itself, and not just like because I'll probably still bring Templars just because I've got a lot of good units already for them. But as I add to the Sons of Medusa, yeah, that'll be cool. I'll need some Terminators, so I'll look into those definitely. And start saving now, because I'm sure they're an arm and a leg. Yeah. This guy's base is really gross. It was cheap white foam board and like static grass. And instead of rebasing him, I've just always repainted over it every time I've tried to repaint this guy. And so it's kind of spongy, but it works. It just looks like a really gross rock. Nice. Alright. Let's do this guy. Yeah, I really wanted bases that were high contrast. Especially because I'm doing, the Templar armor very dark. It's very gritty and dirty. It's not very clean. It's heavily washed. You know, these are the firstborn guys. They've been fighting a lot longer. The Primaris, I'll probably paint them a little bit cleaner. You know, I'll actually edge highlight them, take my time, you know, do all that garbage. But these guys are straight up for playing, you know, like they've been around forever. Heck, some of these guys I've added purity seals to them as extras after a battle because they killed enough stuff. But having these colors against the black, it's going to look really good. Especially when I put that golden brown on there. It's going to just make it pop just a little bit better. I'm excited. It's going to look good. I want to get some more chaplains too. I want to buy all the Primaris chaplains eventually. That'll be cool. Especially since my army's so chaplain heavy. I have a bunch of gray knights that I need to paint up. They're all built and everything, but I want to get some. There's this color I used on one of my knights once, and it's one of those like enamel airbrush paints that's usually used for like tanks and stuff like that. You know, for the modelers that do that. And it's just bright chrome, and you just do a nice, you know, black foundation on something, and then you airbrush on that chrome. Oh my goodness, it looks amazing because it's a really oily chrome color. So it's super bright, but it's just got like this oily tinge to it in the undertones when it settles. It just looks amazing. I get it from my local hobby shop that's like been around forever. It was something that was recommended to me. I gotta find it again, but it's like super expensive. So that'll be exciting to do. Let's see. You know, honestly, yeah, it's mostly for fun. You know, originally I was doing a lot of, you know, camping and backpacking and stuff like that. So I was gonna, you know, maybe just document that. And like I said, I've had this channel for like, yeah, I think the oldest video on here, I had erased all the old videos. I kept one from like 16 years ago, and I've had the account longer. So I was like, you know, I've never posted on here. So it's more for fun, but honestly, if it takes off, I'll go with it. I'm not sticking strictly to like Warhammer yet, but quite honestly, I'm going to be building a lot of terrain. So this might actually turn into like a terrain and like miniature painting channel. Because if I'm going to be building Sons of Medusa, painting up all my Templar, you know, all of this stuff, I'm going to film it all. And so by the time I'm done, there's probably going to be, you know, probably over 100 videos of just Warhammer stuff alone. So, right? I know it's one of those things where it's like it might turn out that way. Quite honestly, it's very variety right now. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I know, right? Like it could turn into a thing where yeah, we get donations to keep building the armies and make them bigger. You know, I saw this guy post a video where he has a Templar army. He's like, I think I've got the largest Templar army. I'm like, oh, wait until I paint mine. I might have you beat, guy. I mean, it's not a diss on him, but it's like, man, I've got a lot. So it's kind of cool, you know. This might turn into a thing, to be honest. I've posted a couple videos lately, you know, just because I've been, you know, working on this stuff. And they've, you know, for being, you know, a nobody channel and just, you know, posting random videos, they've been doing pretty good. So, especially for the size of the channel and just the quality of the videos. The videos aren't good, I'll tell you that right now. But each time I've done them, I think the quality has gotten better each time. I sat down and I use DaVinci Resolve when I edit my videos. And so I did a lot of tutorials and stuff like that on the last couple ones to get the audio right, because I know the audio is important. And so looking how to like mix the audio properly to where YouTube's not boosting the sound or lowering the sound. I try to get it as close to exactly what they compress everything as. I'm getting within like 1 to 2 decibels now, so it's gotten a lot better that quality wise. You know, and then just editing in general. I usually, you know, even when I've had other channels before that, you know, was just for like housing, you know, my Twitch vlogs and stuff like that, or you know, Twitch videos and everything like that, and VODs. There we go. And you know, when I did any kind of structured videos, I didn't, you know, do any kind of scripts or anything like that. It's always just kind of off the cuff. And so I was like, oh, the last one I kind of took some notes, and the next one I'll put up is probably going to be one about that Lazy Susan I'm making. And you know, try to make it shorter and a little bit more concise and not me rambling like I do on these lives. So, you know, so if someone wants to replicate it, is just have the information and just show me painting it and making it and everything like that. It'd be kind of cool. So yeah, it might turn into something. So, I mean, heck, you stuck around. It says something. I appreciate it, by the way. So it's always good to have people interacting in the chat. I'm used to that with Twitch, but yeah, here it's just kind of, you know, starting fresh, right? You don't have a following or anything, and you just got to be used to talking to yourself. You know, that's how the first half of the pandemic was, is starting fresh with Twitch, not having anybody on the chat, and you just end up talking to yourself for hours. It's therapeutic, I guess, you know. Yeah, no, I do appreciate it though. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and this is the first time I've used this this new setup where I've got, you know, the multiple cameras and everything, because like I said, I've got full setup at my computer desk and this one here at the painting desk. And then what I'm going to do is I've got my old gaming laptop that has the capability of streaming pretty well. I'm going to stick that out in the garage where I've been building my terrain, so I can live stream while I'm building terrain too. So that'd be cool. Yeah, I always talk to the viewers, because quite honestly, that's the fun part of it. Like, why live stream if you're going to ignore people, right? That's kind of the way I think about it. And quite honestly, like, I've met people, you know, over the last few years when I was doing it on Twitch, you know, that I still talk to this day, and I don't stream that much anymore. Like, I think there's only like a couple videos, because I'll stream like every month or so. And it's all about just building the connections. But, you know, I think it's because, you know, I come from a different era of the internet, I think, you know, where it's like, you know, we were on chat rooms and stuff, you know, when it was the early days. And, you know, I remember playing Counter-Strike and everything with people. And, you know, my Counter-Strike team back in the day, it was just guys from all over the place. And we ended up becoming pretty good friends. We lost contact years ago, though, but we would meet up and go watch movies and stuff. And we all met playing Counter-Strike and stuff like that. And it was like, we just ended up talking to each other back in when TeamSpeak was brand new, you know. So it's good stuff. But yeah, it's all about the people. I mean, what's the point, right? If you're doing all this work to create videos and live stream what you're doing, it's because you're sharing, you know. If you're gonna share. So you gotta let others play too. I like the contrast with these new base colors. I gotta fix the lighting over in this corner. It is nighttime though, and I'm right in front of a window and it's dark. So. Yeah, no, I get that, you know, but even if you got like 400 plus viewers, like, you still, you know, maybe you set it to like subscriber only, or, well, I guess if you have 400 subscribers, that's a different problem, but you still try, you know. I've seen like bigger streamers, you know, that have, you know, thousands of people. I remember, like, what was it, like Harris Heller, for instance. I don't know if you know who he is. If yeah, the music's still playing. That's Stream Beats. That's the music that he creates. When he would do his live streams on Twitch, like he would only, if people donated, those are the only things he would read because there was just so many people. Like you couldn't even read the chat. It was flying by so fast. I was like, that makes sense. Like I'm okay with you charging to answer questions because that's the only way you can stay sane. That was his way of filtering through the noise, was just like, all right, you donate bits, I'll answer your question. And that made sense. That made all the sense in the world. But yeah, if you're a nobody, just talk to people. That's what it's about. Yeah, all these bases I did, they're the little hobby sand, for like the model railroads. And then I took corkboard, broke it up, and put it on. So it was the original 28 millimeter stands with this, put corkboard down, and then filled in all the gaps with hobby sand. And then that's what I'm painting up. And then when they changed the base size for all the Marines, instead of debasing everybody and creating all new bases, that probably would have been easy because I could have just sprayed everything and spray painted it and done it up really quick. What I did is I glued all of the Marines 28 millimeter bases down to the the 32 millimeter bases. So now they're double stacked. But the cool thing is when you stand them up next to a Primaris Marine. I don't have one built, but like, I don't know if you can. Yeah, the glare is really bad. But when you stand them up where that Primaris will be on the flat base, they're almost as tall as Primaris Marines. So when you're playing games and you got Primaris Marines on the table with Firstborns on the table, because you still want to use Devastators, you still might want to use, all your Assault Marines and stuff like that with the jetpacks, especially with like the veteran ones, right? So I always forget the name. But when I double based them, they're almost the same height as the Primaris Marines. So then it doesn't look as weird having a bunch of short Marines and then all these tall, lanky Marines standing next to them. It never made sense. So I tried to make it look as cohesive as possible that way. Gotta be careful with paint on my hands so I don't mess up their paint jobs. Good old Sword Brother model. These are the metal ones too. Metal sword. What's really cool is I got it's one of the old Marshall, or not Marshall, but yeah, it was one of the old Templar marshals in the old days. And then I've got another one. Yeah, I think this was like one of like I forget, I think this might have been one of like the specials that GW did, like one of the fancy like pre-order type marshals. That guy's one of my favorites. So these are like my Castellans that I use, little lieutenants. Not anymore because it'll be Primaris, but I can still use them. If I ever play Apocalypse, they'll be needed. I own them. I haven't cracked them yet. Quite honestly, the last few books that I've gone through have been either business books or I've done some Star Wars books lately. I'm doing the Revan book right now. Going through some of those old things. And it was funny because, as I started reading the Revan book, I was like, oh man, I forget how the Knights of the Old Republic game went. So then I found on YouTube where someone had made like a cinematic movie of all of the cutscenes from Knights of the Old Republic. So I'm going through and watching that right now so I can remember what the heck happened. And then I'm going to finish the Revan book. But yeah, my goal was to go through, and I found the timeline of when they released all the Star Wars books, because that was what I was trying to get through right now. of not the chronological order of, like, per the timeline, but when they released all the Star Wars books. And so I started with was it Splinter of the Mind's Eye? I did that one. That was the first book written for Star Wars. So it's funny, you can still see how they were sussing out a lot of the lore and everything like that. And so I was starting to go through a lot of the books like that, but I jumped ahead to Revan because I really wanted to read it. So that I've got a stack of Warhammer books that I haven't touched yet, but that'll come eventually. I'm patient. I mean, I've been collecting this army now for let's see, since 2004. And I'm just now painting it, so yeah, I've got some patience. I'm good. I'll get to it eventually, right? It's like when my wife asked me to take out the trash or do the dishes, I'll get to it. Yeah, eventually, I'll get there. So. You know, I'm just a fan of. I'm not a. Yeah, I am a fan of Star Wars. I always tell people I'm not a fan of Star Wars. I mean, I do the 501st stuff where I dress up as a stormtrooper and, you know, run around in costume. So I've done that for years. So yeah, I like Star Wars. I'm a fan of everything Mandalorian. You know, I've always been building Mandalorian stuff all the time. So I love the culture and everything in the lore. So it's really cool. So I'm really happy with it. My wife and I have been sitting down watching Andor. This is probably like the first one that I'm kind of like, okay, this is a slow burn, but I still enjoy it. So yeah, I think it's getting better. You know, the newest movies, the was it the 7, 8, 9? You know, if you just take them as what they are, I enjoyed them. You know, I gotta remind myself it's technically a kids franchise. You know what I mean? Like these shows are more for the adults now. But no, I'm enjoying all the stuff that's coming out. It's fun to be a part of it. I don't try to get upset about it. If they go in a different direction, oh well. You know, at first I got mad that they got rid of the expanded universe and they changed all the canon and everything. But then I realized I can go back and read all those books. They still exist. There's PDFs everywhere. There's audiobooks. There's whatever. I'm okay with it. I can still enjoy it, right? Yes, I agree. And then I just heard that they, because they were going to do Rogue Squadron, which would have been amazing, but I heard they might have canceled that, so that sucks. But yeah, Rogue One was amazing. And I think it's really a testament of like how, you know, how they should do it. But you know, like when Solo came out, I was not into it. I was just not feeling it at all. And my wife and I have been going through and rewatching everything in chronological order. And so we're on Mandalorian again right now. Obviously we stopped to watch Andor, but you know, I watched like Solo again, and I was like, you know what, I enjoy it. So you know, now that I rapid fired through, you know, the Clone Wars and all that stuff again, it's, you know, you appreciate the little things in it. It's just more world building. It doesn't have to all be negative. You know, I'm okay with it. Starkiller, right? Yeah, my wife thought I was crazy because I was sitting down watching all of the cinematics from The Force Unleashed the other day. Because I was like, oh, I don't want to play through the game, but I do want to, you know, relive the story again. I forgot to fill my water cup, so I'm just gonna sacrifice this brush and cut it down. Yeah, no, that's a cool storyline. That one would be cool to see in live action. You know, it's funny, as I started the Revan book, and they're sitting there describing Revan. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally see Keanu Reeves as they're describing him. Like, there's a missed opportunity there. Yeah, I would say solo is probably the worst. I think the problem is there was this guy on in social media who I think it was on either Vine or the early days of TikTok, and he would run around pretending to be Han Solo, and like he was like a voice actor or an impressionist, and he would do impressions of Han Solo, and the way he looked and the way he sounded, it was spot on. And I think what turned off the Solo movie for me is the guy that they cast to play Solo was the wrong guy to play Solo. You know, like there was a guy on social media that was known because I saw him at the conventions, right? Like Lucasfilm knew about that guy. I know he was a nobody, so that's why they didn't pick him. But he would have been the most logical choice if you're looking for the best person to play the part, in my opinion. And so it just took me a long time to warm back up to the Solo thing. And then just knowing that they had changed their mind so much, you know, where they reshot a lot of it and everything. And I'm just like, it just seems like the whole film was just indecisive and it was a money grab. Like it felt like a money grab to me. And I was just kind of not behind it because of it. But now I can appreciate it because I'm like, you know what, whatever. It's part of it now, and it is what it is. It enriches the story. Take the wins, and now it's an enjoyable film, you know. The cool part about it was, and I'll tell you the best part about Solo, was my wife and I, we had watched through the Clone Wars, the cartoons together. Because like I said, we watched, you know, the episode 1, episode 2, then we watched the Clone Wars cartoon, and then we went and, you know, we were watching it in order. And when we got to Solo, and then they, spoiler alert, I guess, if anybody hasn't seen it, but when, you know, Darth Maul shows up at the end, she got excited. And that was where it was like, yeah, no, I'm cool now. This is cool. Because, like, now she's a nerd, and she knows who Darth Maul really is, and how much character development he's gone through in his story arc and everything like that. So she was super excited and nerding out when she saw him, and she didn't have any like negative connotations to the movie. So it was like, breathe new life into it for me, you know, because it was like you got to see it through fresh eyes. So it was pretty cool. So I'm a fan now. It's just part of the franchise. So no, you know what? They really didn't do anything with it. Yeah, because after Solo, right, it was Rebels, and you know Maul comes back in Rebels, and they don't mention any of the stuff that happened with Solo. It was just, you know, he shows up to face Kenobi. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good opportunity if they want to fill in some years. They can go back and do a either like a short series, maybe like just a one-off series. If you follow the MCU stuff, kind of like Moon Knight, how they don't want to go and do a second season, and it was just a real short, you know, series basically. I would see if like it would be kind of cool if they did something like that with you know, Darth Maul, and kind of fill in his crime syndicate years, you know. That would be interesting. Because we've seen so much character development of Darth Maul, and he's such a like, I just love the depth of his character, because he's not really like, he's not that bad of a guy. Well, he's a bad guy, don't get me wrong, he's a bad guy, but he's so practical, right? There's so much depth to him, and it's like he doesn't do things unless you make him mad, right? He doesn't do things to be cruel. There's always a plotting purpose behind what he does. And so it would just be fascinating to see him as a crime boss. And almost have it be like a gangster film as like a short. Yeah, he's very broken, right? But like do like a gangster film. Kind of like maybe like The Sopranos, but with Darth Maul as the main character. He'd be the Tony Soprano of the series. Something like that, right? Just have fun with it. Because he's so just broken at that point and just crazy. that I think it would make a great storyline if they did something like that, you know. And then that way we would have all the loopholes filled in. I'm sure there's a book somewhere that fills in the gaps, but I don't know. I think it'd be fun the way they're doing all the shows and stuff like that. It'd be a good opportunity. Or even if they did like kind of like the, you know, when they did Marvel and they did like the little What If series, and it was just the little quick shorts and everything like that. But it also played back to kind of the current films as well. So I don't know. It'd be fun. But I doubt they'll spend any energy on it. They got a lot of other franchises. We need to see more Ahsoka. All that stuff. Ooh, Grievous. Yeah, like Grievous before he gets his body replaced. You know, when he was like, all the statues in his lair, you know, portray him as like this great warrior and hunter and all that stuff like that, showing him as like a young, you know, whatever species he is. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good spin-offs they can do. I'm liking that, you know, with the Andor show, they're really expanding the universe a little bit more. You're seeing a little bit more detailed workings of how like the Empire works and stuff like that. It's a really good kind of opening up the closet, so to speak, and showing us what's, you know, inside. It's kind of cool. It's been good. I gotta remember not to pull the models so close to my body because it comes off screen. I gotta keep it up here. I always like rest the model on my chest and paint off my chest, so I gotta make sure I don't do that. It's always a little weird when you're painting the bases with the models on it, but like I said, when you're repainting hundreds of models, just kind of go with it. Yeah, I think Andor is a slow burn. Like it's ramping up slowly, a little bit too slow for me, but you know, I'm here for it. I think he's a really cool character. They're giving him some complexity too, which is good. He's just not coming out as like this cold-blooded killer, which I appreciate. There's some depth to him as well, and there's a past and all that stuff like that. So I appreciate what they're doing. It's probably too slow for a lot of fans. Yeah, right? All of that in the first 5 minutes. Just boom, right there. You start out the gate just hitting all of the social topics, you know? Yeah, it's got a lot of social commentary, especially when you get the corporate security involved, and you can definitely tell it's a modern take on what's going on with like policing and stuff like that, and the militarization of it and everything. It's, you know, you can see the social commentary that's built into it, which I'm sure is going to make a lot of people angry, but that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. It sparks an emotion in people. So that's a-okay. It's funny, like apothecaries, I've never used them in game until now. Like, they've gotten really fun to play with. I want to get one of the Primaris apothecaries, but I don't know. I might just keep using the Firstborn for my Templar, and then get a Primaris apothecary for Sons of Medusa. Or I'll just, you know, paint them very neutral. Just paint them all white. That way I can use them for either one. I gotta think how I can not have to replicate so many models and buy two for both my armies when I can just buy one. God, this brush is getting tore up. Alright, these guys need to move back. Got a couple more to get this base coat on. To be honest, I might only do the base coat today. I don't know. do want to get these things finished by tomorrow. Maybe I'll stream again tomorrow and finish up everything. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how far I get tonight. Because, yeah, it's just once I lay down all this color, by the time I'm done, I can go back to these guys, kind of dry brush-ish with the tan. That probably will go really quick. And then I'll probably have to go through and touch up the models with a little bit of wash, just where I've hit their boots and stuff like that, just to kind of muddy it up a little bit. Let that dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll hit all the rims of the bases up to clean that up. And then I can go ahead and hit everything with a matte coat. It's probably going to be the game plan. So, it'll be good. I'm not sure how long I've been streaming for, but we'll see. This guy's one of my favorites. Just a simple power fist. It's a really good one. I thought about, since this the wash I used has got a gloss varnish in it, I thought about leaving all the armor gloss varnished and then going through and just getting I have liquid matte varnish and just painting over everything that's supposed to be like or painting over the bases and painting over like any of the fabrics and stuff, so that way the armor has a nice high gloss shine to it, but then everything else is matted. I'm not sure how that would look, you know, from the tabletop. You know, I think a matte varnish looks the best, to be honest. But there's options. Got plenty of options. It'd be cool either way. Yeah. Good thing is it's really dark in between a lot of the cracks, and I don't even need to fill that in, really, because you're not going to even notice. It just looks like shadow where he's standing there. Good. Right? Risk and reward. One of my company, was that company champion? Almost done. Yeah, painting bases is not the funnest thing to do. Yeah, what I started doing when I started repainting the whole army, I rebase coated everything black, and then I went through and I overbrushed everything with the gray, like every model, and I just assembly lined the colors basically. And then I went through and I did everything that was going to be white. I did a nice initial coat of white on everything that's supposed to be white, so all the shoulder pads and everything. And then I went through and did all the reds. And then what I did is I just took a batch of basically all of my special characters, sergeants, sword brethren, all of these characters and chaplains and stuff like that. And then I took them individually and finished up all the colors, all the golds, silvers, any details, stuff like that, skin colors and everything. Everybody without helmets, I did, where they had faces, painted all them, and then did the wash on them, and then now I'm doing the bases. So all of my other models, you know, they're just basic, ready to go. All I have to do is do the silver, gold, and then any black touch-ups where I've like gone over on like the shoulder trim and stuff like that. And then I'll put a wash on them, and then I can do their bases, and then then they'll be done. So I'm like 50% complete with all the rest of the army. So probably like 100 models, and then these guys are pretty much good to go. It's kind of cool. It's so close. If I buckle down and just work on them, you know, in the next couple weeks, I should be done with all of the built models I have. And then that just leaves all the ones that I still have to assemble and build, which next will be my Primaris Marines. I do have some Blood Angels that my buddy had bought on consignment years ago before the pandemic, and I was gonna paint them for him, and then it just shelved. I shelved everything and said I'll paint them when I get back to it. You know, back to painting. So now once I finish this army, I'm gonna do his characters that I've owed him for years. But it'd be cool. It's a bunch of Death Company troops with the jetpacks and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. His army's really cool. That one I took my time painting his whole army. They look like what is it, Blood Ravens, the ones from the video game. I did it that paint scheme. So they're blood angels that are painted kind of like blood ravens a little bit. Looks pretty cool. And I just got paint all over my hand. Yay, okay. Still pretty hot outside, so everything's drying very quickly. I wish we just got like a portion of the rain that they're getting over on the east coast of the US. That would be nice. It's so dry and hot out here. You know, it looks like the music stopped. I'll go ahead and start it again. I forgot I didn't put the whole playlist on. I put just one album. There we go. Hey, it was nice chat with you. I appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, thanks. I do appreciate the company. Stop by anytime. I do appreciate it. You have a good one. One's a nice double stacked rock. I like this one. Did kind of like a, was it the Pride Rock and Lion King? Nice little jutting out rock on there. Kind of hard to see. Really glob the paint on there. Jeez. Work. My absolute favorite piece. I love this character. Yeah, I need to put more red in his eyes. It's like the last detail I forgot to do. I'll do that once the bases are finished, and that way I can just clear coat all these guys. Another company the company champion or company, yeah, company veteran or whatever it is. The bodyguard one for the command squad. Never use these guys. You need to get better at using them. I just bent up that brush. Jeez. I guess it'll dry brush a lot better though when I do the next layer. Alright, that'll be good. 3 more models. This one's hard to get in. This is my Marshall. Last one. Really hoping I don't have to put a wash on these and just doing the dry brush so the next coat will look good. That way it doesn't, because the wash always takes so long to dry. I'd like to have all these completed by tomorrow. There we go. God, the contrast looks so good. Really enjoying that. Cool. Alright. I need to get something to clean my brush. I forgot to fill up my water. I need to do that real quick. I'll be right back. Hey, how's it going? Just had to get some. I forgot to grab the water for my paintbrushes, so I had to go grab it real quick. Just doing a little bit of painting tonight. Hanging out. Going through and repainting all of the bases of all my miniatures to match my new table. So, in that process right now. Yay. It's a big endeavor to do. Let's see, tonight I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. I've repainted 47 bases tonight. So basically what it is I had painted the bases they're on like a lighter tan color with like a gray. And since I'm building on new terrain for the new table I'm doing, I want these to match. So I'm going through and doing, it's a burnt sienna that I'm doing as the base coat. It's kind of like got like a little bit of a redder color to it. And then I'm going to go through with a golden brown and kind of dry brush the highlights over those. And then I'll go through and clean up all the base rims with like a chocolate brown color. And then that way, once that dries, I'll be able to go through and right now most of the models have a really high gloss finish to them, so I've got to add a couple details like in the eyes and stuff like that. And once I'm done doing that, tomorrow I'll spray them down with a matte varnish just to take the shine off of them, and they'll look more like these guys' armor that don't have as much of a shine. You can see in the light it's kind of hard to see. These guys are more shiny than them. These have a satin finish on them, so I'm going to be redoing them with a matte varnish. And these guys will have matte varnish on them as well. So it'll be cool. A lot of little details. And then what I'll end up doing is there's another video I'm working on where my wife bought a Lazy Susan, really cool looking one, that I textured the top to look like my tabletop. So then I can place a model in the center, and then after I finish painting them, I can sit there and set the camera down and I can get the good 360 view of the model on a nice, trained out Lazy Susan. So what I'll do is I'll take pictures and videos and I'll post them up on it's like YouTube shorts, and maybe throw them up on TikTok as well, so then people can see what I've been working on. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So there'll be 50 Marines going up over the course of the next. I'll probably only do like one a day, so I'm not bombarding everybody. So maybe over the next 50 days we'll get a Marine each up on YouTube shorts. I don't know, we'll see. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's neat. Yeah, each one I'm trying to get a little bit better each one that I do. Like I was telling the person that was on here before, I spent a while in the last 2 videos trying to learn how to really edit the sound to meet YouTube standards, right? Because they have a certain decibel threshold that they like to keep all the videos at, to keep them all even. So if you're below that, they'll raise the volume of your video. If you're above it, they'll compress it down. And so trying to get it to where they basically do very little manipulation of my videos, so I know the sound sounds good on my videos. I've been trying to do a lot of that work, so it's been interesting to learn kind of how the sound engineering goes on mixing the sound for each of the YouTube videos, because it's different than normal videos. You gotta worry about certain compression rates and stuff like that. So it's been fun learning all that. I just gotta get better about editing it. And then when I'm so used to doing live videos that on some of the YouTube videos I created, I rambled on too much. Here on lives, that's fine, right? It's either you come here to watch what I'm doing with my hands or you hear me talking, right? So that makes sense. But when it's hey, let me show you how I built this thing, no one wants to hear you ramble on. So that's something I'm working on to get better at. It takes time. So each time I do one, it's just going to be a little bit better every time. And that's the important thing. All right, so this is golden brown, so that's what I'm going to use to try to highlight everything. Hopefully it looks good. All right, so let's see. I want to do this more of a dry brush. Let's see, we'll go with this guy first. Choose you as tribute. I don't know how heavy I want to do this. And that's gonna look decent. I forgot I can actually go a little bit heavy with this because it's a very watery, cheap paint, which is perfect because it doesn't have a lot of pigment, so I don't have to worry about it covering the coat under it. I did a little bit higher quality on the base coat, really cheap paint on the top coat. That way it shows right through. This is going to tear this brush up. That's quite all right, though. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's yeah, some of the videos I've posted are actually kind of picking up some steam. I mean, for being a channel that's been dormant for 16 years. Because, yeah, the last video that was posted on this channel was 16 years ago. I kept it up on here. So a channel that's been sitting dormant for that long, and then all of a sudden I started posting out of nowhere. It's doing better than I thought, you know? Alright, so let's see how that looks. So, yeah, got the nice mixture of colors. Some will be lighter than others, that's fine. I still might go over it with a wash just to muddy it up a bit. That looks pretty cool. Give it a nice desert color. Yeah, comparing the two. Appreciate you stopping by. Actually had someone in here hanging out for a while. It was kind of nice. I don't think so. This is the ones that I had in my cabinet for a long time. Huh. I don't know. How's the music volume, by the way? Is it too loud or is it kind of just right? What do you think? This is a new setup because, like I said, I added to basically my Twitch streaming setup, and I added an extra mic and camera for this setup. So I have it set up here at my art table, and over on my computer desk I've got my original setup still set up. So I've got basically 2 mics, 2 cameras, and so I'm just swapping between them. It's kind of hard getting all the levels just right. Okay, well that's perfect. Yeah, it's like when I zone out and I get a little quiet while I'm painting and stuff like that, it's just it should just kind of fill in the dead air then. That's perfect. Yeah, because it's, you know, I never want it to be just like deathly quiet. I never want to have to just talk to fill dead air either. So it's just one of those things where it's nice to have the background music. Nice copyright-free music. It's funny, on one of my YouTube shorts, I use the music they provide, but it gave me a copyright claim, and they're like, "Oh, it's not a copyright strike, so it's not, you know, we're not going to make you take down the video or anything like that." They're just like, if you ever get monetized, it may not be monetizable for that video. And I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb. Like, why do you have it on your platform then if you are going to copyright it? Or, you know, copyright claim it. Makes no sense. Like, come on, guys. Yeah, this is a lo-fi album. Just nice and just chill background music. I've got it right now where I can't hear it because I need to get a headphone extension where it's plugged in on my computer, or I'll have to like set up where my extension cable is, because if I have it playing in the background, it'll feed back into the mic, and I don't want it doing crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I've listened to it so many times, I can, as long as I can see it working on the fader, I'm good. So yeah, it's nice and chill music. I love this lo-fi stuff. It's great for when you're just painting and trying to be creative and making things. It's really good. This is it's Stream Beats. It's by Harris Heller. You can find it on like Spotify or YouTube. I appreciate that guy. He created it, and he allows people to use it on their streams and YouTube videos. It's copyright free. Obviously, he prefers you to stream it. Like if you stream it from YouTube and Spotify, he gets paid for all those plays. That's how he's making his money. So I always try to, you know, stream it when I can, through like iTunes and stuff like that. That way he gets his cut. Oh yeah, the Tahoe video. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know, but I think it came together all right. So cool. Thanks for showing your friend. Yeah, I think it was a good representation. At least I hope it was. Yeah, it was nice. I went camping over the weekend with some friends, and I was able to use some of my leftover food before it goes bad. But all the food that I repackaged was still good. That's all I ate. They were all eating like, you know, nice home cooked meals and stuff. I was like, nope, I'm eating my backpacking food. I've got leftovers that I spent a bunch of money on. I'm going to eat it. But it was still good, you know. Didn't go bad at all, so that's perfect. It was in Big Bear, and it was it was a group campsite, because there was like 15 of us that went, and it was really cool. It was like, once you left the main highway, it was like 4 miles up a little winding road just to get to the campsite, and it was secluded. It was nice. Some people left some food out though, so that we had the bees on day 2. But yeah, it was a really nice place. And of course, like the day we go up there, as we're driving up, they shut down one of the highways going up because a fire broke out at the base of the mountain of where we were staying. So that was interesting. Luckily, they got it out fast, so we were able to stay. But Yeah, big old fire broke out day we got there. So, but it was nice because the wind was blowing the opposite direction, so we didn't get any of the smoke from it or anything. Yeah, right. Yeah, just get out there and like I'm thinking about maybe taking a drive up one of these weekends and checking out some yellow post sites on some BLM land up in Central California or something like that, and just checking that out. And because I haven't done too much yellow post camping and stuff, so it's like, well, I've got the food already left over from the trip, so might as well go and use it and check out some cool campsites in the BLM land. So might be interesting. Yeah, it's like where they have like the campsites that are like they're kind of maintained, like they sometimes have vault toilets and stuff like that, but it's like first come first serve. They just have like a yellow post sticking up, and that's where you go and you set up camp, and it's kind of like you just go and claim your spot, and if no one's there, you can stay there, and there's like a max, like you can't stay there more than like 2 weeks or something like that. If you go on like the Bureau of Land Management's website, you can look up all the campsites all over, California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, stuff like that, and see where they're at, and then they'll tell you like, yep, these are first come first serve, all that stuff. Yeah, right on. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. They usually don't have like any amenities, like there's no running water, no trash. Sometimes, like I said, some of them have vault toilets, but I could only imagine it's probably like Echo Lake, where it's just gross. Up there in Tahoe, but yeah, it's it is what it is though. It's free camping, so can't complain with the conditions. Oh yeah, that's dry. As that dries, it's looking good. And then a nice brown base on there. Once I clean that up, it's gonna look nice and clean. I like it. Yeah, right. Yeah, especially when the vault toilets are worse than nature. It's probably cleaner going in a bush. Yeah, there's some areas that like maybe in the next couple of years I kind of want to buy some property. Not necessarily in the mountains, but like I found some like really cool areas in like grasslands and stuff like that, and kind of deserty type areas that like in the winter would be a great place to go camping. I thought about buying like a little bit of property one day, and that way I could just go camping on it whenever I want and just kind of maintain the area, and it'll just be my little spot, invite people out whenever they want to come hang out there, but won't have any amenities or anything, right? Yeah, I think it'd be cool because like right now, there's some areas where you can buy like an acre or two for like 5-10 grand. I mean, it's in horrible kind of areas, it's like desert or just really like old farm field type areas, and it's really just kind of run down. But if you're just planning on camping there and just chilling and not doing anything, it's kind of worth it, right? It's not pristine land. It's not like what you'd get on the East Coast for that much, but it's kind of cool. We'll see one day. This is too heavy. There we go. Right, exactly. Yeah, as long as you've got a way to get to the property, because some of it's landlocked. That's what I've been finding is a lot of the cheaper land, it's pretty landlocked, and it's like you have to either have four-wheel drive or you've got to walk in to get to some of it. Some of it's in like mountain ranges and stuff where there's no like fire access roads or anything. So you know, sometimes the cheaper the land, the more wonky it is to get there. But you know, if you can find something that's not totally landlocked, it's just maybe down a really bad dirt road, you know, it still might be worth it. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I'm really digging this color. It's like the cheapest paint I can find, but it's working perfect. Yeah, I forgot to reset my my Ethernet port, so I've been having some lagging issues on the stream. It seems to be going okay right now. It had a couple of hiccups earlier, but all in all, it seems to be going pretty good. I upgraded my internet service too, so I've got faster upload speeds now. So I basically what I did is, so the base coat, I used like the mid-tier craft paint, right? So this is what I base coated it in for the base. This Americana stuff is like I think it's like if you're to buy like the smaller bottles like this size, I think it's like $1.50 for this size bottle. It's like $10 for this size, or $5 or whatever. Yeah, it's like $10 for this. And then for the top coat that I'm doing right now, this golden brown, this is that Craft Smart stuff. You can get this from anywhere from like 60 cents to $1. It's super thin, not a lot of pigment, which is perfect because as it dries, it almost dries a little opaque, not opaque, translucent, sorry. Yeah, whatever. But the base color shows a little bit more, so it looks a little bit more weathered, and you don't actually have to do much weathering to it. So it's like a little trick I learned where it's use a little bit better pigment paint. It's barely better, and then the almost non-existent pigment here, and it kind of shows through a little bit better. You know, it's just basic craft paint from the craft store, nothing fancy. Yeah, I don't use my good paints that I do the characters in for the bases, because the you know, the paints for like the miniatures is this, you know, this size. It's really small, and these get to be expensive, you know, compared. So I don't like using them for the base, especially when I'm doing bulk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the cheap. I mean, it's not the stuff you get from Walmart, which is like 50 cents, I think. That's the really cheap stuff. But yeah, for doing all the terrain that I'm building and, you know, painting an entire tabletop and stuff like that, yeah, I don't want to use good paints for that. I'm just going to use basic craft stuff. And I want these to match. That's the biggest thing, is I'm using the same paints that I used on my table, and the rock arch one that I did, this is the exact same color scheme. The only difference is I might not put a black wash on this like I did the rock arch, because I want these bases to be a little bit brighter against the dark armor. That way the characters just pop a little bit more when they're on the table. So it's still the same shades, it's just not going to be as dark. You know, same colors, not as dark a shade. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's pretty cool. Just playing around with it. Yeah, I used to have, when I had the original paint scheme that I did for these guys, the bases were like a black and white, and their armor is black and white. So it's kind of like it was all one blob when you're looking at it on the table, and the figure itself didn't really stand out because let's see here, I'm repainting this figure, but the base, that's what the base was. It was a black, like just a simple black and white, and against the black and white armor, it was all one thing. Now there's some good contrast between the two, so I'm really excited about how it's going to look. Getting there. Yeah, I'm hoping with this stream I can at least finish painting all of the base parts. The rim parts I'll probably do tomorrow, or later tonight after taking a break or something. And then, like I said, then I'll go through and clean up any small details. Like I've got some eyes and stuff to paint and everything on the faces and on the helmets and like the visors and stuff like that. And then once I'm done with that, then tomorrow I can hit this with a clear matte varnish and it should all look nice and uniform. Look really good. Because yeah, half are really shiny, half are not, and all that stuff. So it'll make them all a uniform look. And then I've got another 150 of these guys to fully paint. And then I've got a bunch of newer ones that I've got to build and then paint. Part of these Space Marines, they came out with these newer characters that are bigger. They have their own lore and everything like that, and they're much better to play with too. So I'm gonna build the new ones and paint those, and I'll take more time on those because these ones I've had. I think I was telling the person I was on before. I started collecting these in 2004, and I've never painted my army. So now I'm finally at the phase where I'm finally painting my army. All these years later, so it's like I'm just batch painting all of them, just getting them done. Don't have to be perfect. It's better than when they were just primed black. Now they actually have multiple colors on them, and they have a little bit more life to them, and they'll match the board. It's gonna look really good. It's exciting. We're making progress. And look at that, we have content for YouTube now. Woohoo! I've resurrected a 15-year-old plus YouTube channel. So that's kind of cool too. Yeah, exactly. That's why I enjoy it, because it's just, you just get to relax and get the tunes playing and just kind of hanging out, and it's a good time. Go. So those guys, now I only have a bunch more to do. Cool. I don't have enough followers on TikTok to do lives yet, so I only have, I think, because I don't really make engaging content on TikTok, right? It's just kind of whatever I'm feeling at any given moment, and it's very inconsistent, kind of like everything else I do. So I only have 445, I think, followers right now. So once you hit 1,000, then you can go live. The cool thing is I think it doesn't violate any terms of services. So basically, I can go live on YouTube and TikTok at the same time because I can do multi-stream with my computer. I would do Twitch and YouTube at the same time, but I'm a Twitch affiliate, and it's technically against the terms of service to stream on YouTube at the same time as Twitch. So I can't do that. But technically, I think you can do like YouTube and TikTok at the same time. So, you know, all the rules. All the rules. So many. But yeah, I don't like that TikTok has that threshold. Like, I get it, but like most platforms, you just need to be verified. Like YouTube, to go live, you have to request it. They check and make sure you've got whatever they're looking for. And then within 24 hours, you're able to go live. Like, it can't be like, oh, I just created an account, let me go live immediately, because then obviously shenanigans are going to happen. But, you know, as long as you've got, you know, all of your information in the system, and you've got, you know, the bare minimum stuff, I think you might have to have some videos posted or whatever, but you just say, hey, I'd like to go live, and they're like, all right, we're going to review your stuff, and then in 24 hours you can go live. And that's all you have to wait for YouTube. It's amazing. And then you get to come on here and make videos, and the cool thing is the lives go straight into my YouTube library, so it's like it'll be a video there, you know. Yeah, Twitch is very exclusive. They did change their terms of service this week, I believe. basically stating that you can go live on Twitch and TikTok at the same time, because they realize that the live experience isn't as robust on TikTok. And so if you do want to watch somebody streaming, you're going to come over to their Twitch. So that they know that that'll bring people onto the platform. So they're looking the other way on that. But they definitely don't want you streaming on YouTube at the same time, because YouTube's trying to take down Twitch and TikTok, you know what I mean, with shorts and then obviously the live feature. Now, YouTube, you got good discoverability, as long as you're uploading videos, like regular videos, people will find you, they subscribe. If they're notified, they'll be notified when you go live. So they'll know to come and join if they want to join the live. But people aren't necessarily on YouTube for the lives. I enjoy them. They're not bad. They're not as busy as Twitch streams. Quite frankly, that can be a little bit too much with how busy Twitch streams can be. But Twitch has its place. If you want to be really interactive with your followers, Twitch is the place to be. Like, you've got like my stream avatars I use. Those are controlled by the viewers. They get their own little avatars basically that are on screen, and they interact with me. They interact with each other. They can battle each other. But yeah, it can be a little bit overwhelming if it's like a really busy one. So it has its place. Like, if I ever stream me playing video games, I'm not going to do it on this channel, right? I'm not going to do video games on this channel. Quite frankly, this was supposed to be like, I want to keep it to more of like my art stuff. So if I do any like watercolor, painting miniatures, making terrain, any kind of maybe digital art, anything like that. Obviously, any like adventures I take in the outdoors, that'll go on this channel. Now, the camping stuff is kind of like, it's a lot of who's subscribed right now, and it's probably going to change because, quite honestly, I think I'm going to do more of this, the Warhammer and all the terrain and stuff like that, because that's just what I'm doing right now. But I'm not in it to be a huge success either, so it doesn't matter. But if I'm going to play video games, I'm going to do it on Twitch, because that's really where it excels. Twitch is really good for that. I've done it with my other channel on YouTube, and it's not as fun. It's just the integrations and all the little extras and all that. It's just not as good. But for sitting here painting and adding value to the stuff I'm already posting, yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect speed. But yeah, I'll probably do a multi-stream and maybe add this to because I can also multi-stream over to like Instagram. I'm totally done with Facebook. I know a lot of people still stick around with Facebook. I despise that platform. I've got to be there just because a lot of stuff I do with organizations and stuff. They embrace the old technology, but yeah, Instagram though. I've done lives on Instagram before through my computer. You just gotta use some funky, was it the RTMP, like little live streaming things. It's kind of complicated to stream, because I use OBS, right, to stream from my computer to the platforms and stuff, and you can still use OBS to do like Instagram, but you got to use like some other third-party stuff to kind of bridge the gap. I think you could do it directly now though, which is good. But it's not the easiest. Sometimes I feel they make it intentionally a little bit difficult, but everybody's using stream software that's open source, third party, because it's just the best. And you'd think the big tech companies would want people to go live, so they just make it integrate. They would work with the open source software and make plugins just to make things easier. But it's only really Twitch and YouTube that have done it successfully, I think. So, oh, man, I don't even know how long I've been streaming for. I'm gonna finish these guys. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I have 23 left to finish. Almost done. and then I'll probably either take a break or finish tomorrow. I might jump back on later though. So I'll finish these and then I'll probably end this stream just because it is going a little bit long. And then either jump back on later and finish, or like I said, in the morning I'll finish it there. I know, I'm so close. But yeah, it's like once I'm done doing all this dry brushing and adding the tan color, or this golden brown, I guess it is, yeah, then I got to go through and clean up all these brown edges. It's the same color, so it's going to clean up really quick. But basically, I got to go and do all the circles around all of these models again. So it's a little tedious. But that's what I get for doing them in batches and not doing them as I bought the models over the years. So it's my own fault. Procrastinated. I don't even know how many years it's been. I mean, the bulk of my army I bought in 2009. So, yeah. No, I appreciate you hanging out. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's actually been nice. Like, this stream has had somebody on it the whole time. You know, I'm perfectly fine streaming to myself. I've done that for a long time with, like, Twitch and stuff. But it's just kind of cool that the first stream on this channel, it's had multiple people on it. So it's a really reassuring sign, you know, as I'm thinking about what kind of content I want to make, and you know, is it kind of worth it working on this channel? It's kind of cool to see that there's engagement, you know. Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, no, like I said, I bought the bulk of my army in 2009. It was during the Great Recession. People started selling their armies on consignment because they weren't doing so well, and I was, you know, pretty fresh out of the army, and I had the income sitting there, you know, from when I got out, and it was kind of perfectly positioned. So, you know, I bought probably 3 or 4 armies that were the same as mine, so I didn't have to like worry about adding specific, you know, unit markers on them and stuff. They were either just really horribly painted or not painted at all. They were just, you know, base coated with like a primer. So it's perfect. So I just rebase coated everything in black. It stayed that way since 2009 for most of my guys. Now I've got like assembled miniatures like this, like infantry guys. I've got over 200 of them for this one army. And I've got a bunch more that I haven't built yet. I've just acquired over years. And so it's now that I'm playing again with, you know, some friends of mine, I was like, yep, now's the time. I think I was saying it earlier. The one guy I started playing with, you know, he's brand new to the hobby, and he's already painted all his miniatures. I was like, oh man, I felt bad. I was like, I've been doing this for years, and I've never fully painted my army. So I was like, yep, now's the time. I have no excuse when the new guy's got a painted army. And that's like the cliche with Warhammer. Like, it's like a running joke with everybody. It's like nobody has a painted army, pretty much. You know, it's a thing to, you know, some people, like, when you play tournaments, you have to have, I think it's like 3 different colors on your models, and people will base coat it with primer with one color, and then they'll like paint the helmet one color, maybe the shoulders another, and that's it. You know, just to give it the tournament colors and stuff like that. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he was definitely super focused, but I mean, he bought 2 armies brand new. He assembled them and he built them, and then and then a family member is like, hey, my friend plays. He's like, oh, perfect. You know, like, because he didn't have anybody to play with, so all he was doing was just painting. So it was kind of cool that we were able to meet up. So now we try to at least meet up once a month to play. It's a good time. This is like my centerpiece model. I gotta make sure I pay attention to how good I do this one. yeah, with this miniature, this is how it normally looks. So this character here is how it normally comes, and then this is how I kind of kit bashed this one and did them up, so it's just all different with like wings and everything like that. So it was fun. So I don't really play with that one, but it's kind of like my, when I display my army, it's my figure piece, centerpiece for the army. Luckily I don't have to be too detailed with this. It's okay if it kind of hits the armor a little, because it looks like it's like dirt and dust. Kind of works out pretty good. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's a nice relaxing, you know, it's like you don't have to, it's not like painting where you got to come up with an idea and paint something straight out of your imagination, right? You're just you know, you're painting something that already exists. It's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more relaxing of an art form, really, because you're just adding color to stuff versus having to really put a lot of thought into what you're painting. If you're, you know, painting a portrait or landscape or something abstract, like I've predefined what my paint scheme is, and I just kind of create rules to like what color I paint certain things, and I just go through and fill in the blanks. Oh, nice. It's being picked up by the mic. Yeah, I turned the I had a gain a noise gate on the mic, and it was clipping my voice, so I just deleted the noise gate. So it's wide open right now. I think I can technically adjust it from here. Yeah, it's up really loud. Maybe, I don't know, actually, hopefully that sounds a little bit better. That might improve it. Let me know if it like doesn't sound as airy, because before I just realized I had the noise gate all the way open, so it's probably picking up the fan in the room and everything. Now it should be a little bit less, hopefully. It's kind of hard to adjust it when the stream computer is all the way across the room. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, as long as it doesn't clip my voice, that's all I'm worried about, is when it just like clips out your voice and it drops stuff. Because the more I talk when I do live streams, especially, my voice gets really hoarse and it gets really like, the mics don't pick it up as well, because it's like I have to like really force out my voice after a while, and so it sounds really airy when I talk. It doesn't help. That's how I know I'm like, oh, I've probably been going for a good hour or so. Because it's like I can feel it in my voice. That's what fatigues more than anything, is my voice. Just talking. Because I've been on calls all day and stuff, and all of that fun stuff. Interviewing. Nice. Yeah, I'm loving the contrast with the paint. Right. Almost done. Yeah, I'm almost done, then you can go to bed. Now you gotta see this through with me. Oh no. That's what I hate about these old metal ones. They break easily when you drop them. fine. I just bought brand new glue. Be easy enough to fix. I gotta set this guy aside. They have like different types of materials these are made out of. Some are made out of just like you know, regular plastic, and then they had like these metal ones for the longest time. And if you didn't pin them, like when you put the parts together, if you drop them or you just grab it just right or just wrong, one of the two, like it would just break, and then it's just so hard to glue back together, and it never, I don't know, they're always just a pain. I've always hated it. And then they came out with these things called fine casts, which are like this real soft, like, I don't know, like a resin type material. And they always came really warped, especially shipping out here to California. The heat would just warp the material, so you'd have to like heat it up underwater just to reshape it. And it's like, paying all this money, like just give me good solid plastic with high detail. Just find something that works better. But yeah, these little metal ones, man, they're a pain. Not my favorite. I have to remember not to pull the model in my chest to kind of hold it steady. It always goes off camera when I do that. All right. So close. Starting to get into that zoning part where you start zoning out while painting. That's the hard part while live streaming and painting at the same time. You just kind of want to zone out sometimes, and you just kind of lose track of what's going on. Right? Yeah, exactly. Kind of getting lost in the sauce on it, yeah. All right. As long as the music doesn't stop. For a while there, I didn't realize that it had played through. It was just like nice and quiet. I was like, oops. I had to go and restart it. There we go. Yeah, you actually got to be careful now, I think, with like the whole ASMR sounds. I hear YouTube's going to start restricting some of those channels because it's, you know, what it does to some people makes it inappropriate. So I think they're going to actually start restricting those channels, some of those ones that you see. That's what I hear, at least. It'd be interesting. Just means I can't talk in a soothing voice. No whispering into the mic. So close. I have 5 more models to do. And then I think we'll probably call it at that point. Yeah, I'm so glad I decided to repaint these. Yeah, the like where they'll sit there and like like move things across like the mic and everything, or yeah, the sound of paintbrushes going, right? That's your jam. Yeah, and it's like this streaming camera I'm using. It's not my best camera, but it's still good. It's like a nice 1080p camera, so it's not going to pick up on a lot of the details. So I'll go ahead and like maybe I'll do like 4K video for the shorts, and hopefully it'll come across really crisp as it, it gets decoded lower, and that way see all the details, how they actually look. Two more. Yeah, can be surprising what you find out you like, right? Last guy. And cats are cool. Camping cats. Yeah, when I went camping, all of my friends brought their dogs. I didn't bring mine though, because first of all, they weren't feeling well. But second, like they're all like German Shepherd size. They're all huge. They're all a bunch of puppies though. They're just having a great old time. Alright. Cool. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna swap over to my other camera real quick. 1 second. See? Look, boom, magic. I'm over here now. Good stuff. I love it. Cool. Well, I'm done with that for tonight. So I'm probably going to I'll probably save finishing the bases for tomorrow, and then maybe like later tonight I'll just go through and do all the little touch-ups tonight off camera. Maybe finish the bases on stream, do a live stream again, finish that up tomorrow, and then I'll go through and do all the clear coat tomorrow. And right, fancy, right? Yeah. So yeah, now I'm back at the actual live stream rig right now, so I'm good. Better quality camera. Yeah. So then hopefully tomorrow I'll have that all finished up, and then I can start, taking pictures and recording pictures of actually how the models look, so everybody can kind of see it. So that'll be fun. Anyways, it's getting late, so thanks again for hanging out. Do appreciate it. And for anybody who watches this when it becomes just a video in the catalog, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you like this and you stuck around the whole time, give it a thumbs up just for surviving. If you didn't like it, let me know too. Tell me what you didn't like in the comments, and maybe next time I'll do it better. How about that? Yeah. You sleep well as well. Sleep well as well. And yeah, I hope to do more live streams on here. It seems to be working fine. So I'll just hopefully tweak it and make it even better. So thanks everybody, and have a great night. Bye.